Welcome back to the tube station, my dudes.
Episode 5. How do I sound?
Better, we're getting there. We went
Testing,
from
testing. One, two,
straight
three.
phone call to an actual mic this time, starting to sound like we're almost in the same room.
We leveled up. The podcast has leveled up already.
Yeah, we're at least level. We'll say we're level 5. That's
Yeah,
why
we
this
are.
is a milestone episode, as you called it.
Episode 5. We've created this milestone for ourselves, and we got a special episode coming to you. It's based on the fact that I don't think anyone knows who the fuck we are.
Nope. Only
We're just,
the people we know who are listening.
we're nobodies. So I think we have to describe, to the fans and the listeners why this podcast exists, what this podcast is, and how we got here.
Let's do it. Well, first, we should start with the tube station. What is the
Why
tube station?
why are we called the tube station? Do-
Flashback to 2013, a simpler
Yeah,
time.
I'm thinking 14 for me. I was a late bloomer
A
for
much
those who already know what a tube station
a
is.
much simpler time.
Time where there was no real responsibilities and your biggest worries kind of revolved around the idea of the tube station.
Yeah, pulling tubes with the boys, pulling tubes with the girls, pulling tubes with everybody. Tubes bring
So
people together.
explain what it is literally.
So the tube, also known as the jeeb,
GB.
GB, grab bong, it's just a ghetto high school way to smoke, obviously. So you take a cup, fill it with water, then you take a water bottle and burn a little hole in the bottom of the water bottle. And you put that inside the cup of water. And then,
The bottle fills with water.
yes, and you got on top, you get a little wrench socket. And my parents fucking wondered. My dad wondered where all his wrench sockets went over the year. Well, if you're listening, now you know. So you melt that into the cap, then screw the cap on, throw a little nuggetry into the cap, light that shit up, pull up, unscrew, and take off to Mars.
The bottle literally fills with probably I'd say like 85% marijuana, 15% straight toxins.
Yeah, because it gets like dark yellow sometimes if it's a milky one.
It's definitely the bottle cap,
A little bit of
whatever.
plastic, a
Yeah,
splash of metallic
from the
waste.
and yeah, you just kind of completely accept that into your lung capacity, and you go into a different state, one that we have enjoyed over the years. But yeah, that's why we are the tube station for
Nobody
all you
knows of it as
listeners.
tubes. Tubes is a local thing for us.
Oh yeah.
And we didn't even realize that until like we started to branch out and stuff. And when you just be in conversation and say like, yo, like you want to pull a tube or whatever, people are like, wait, what do you like?
What the fuck are you
What the
talking
fuck
about?
does like? Because if you don't know, just saying pulling a tube sounds weird. Like what
Yeah.
I don't know what that would be.
When I went to college, that was the exact process. Everyone's like, "What are you talking about?" You show them, and they're just like,
Like
"Oh,
oh
a
Jeeves,
gravity bomb," and you're
like
just
oh
like,
Jeeves, bro. Like yeah,
"That's
well, they're
yeah, don't
tubes.
say that, bro.
So
We're
therefore,
pulling
welcome to the
tubes."
tube station. And tubes, I said this earlier, but tubes bring people together. And tubes
Yes,
actually are the reason you're listening to us right now.
we were first, our relationship basically began at a tube station, if you think about it, which is kind of sick.
Around the station. That's where it all started.
So obviously, by now I'm Jack,
And I'm Noll, obviously.
and there was a time when we didn't know each other. Born to different mothers, we're not related. Uh, we're what you'd call the classic friends. There's not much else to it.
We're
We
humans. We
had to
didn't know
start
each other at
somewhere,
one point, and now we know each other, which is
and
pretty rare if you think about it. That shit
when we were
doesn't happen all the
discussing
time.
when we were discussing earlier, like how did we actually start being friends? It actually came down to, like we said, a tube station, and the story is actually kind of funny, looking back on it, I'd say.
Pyro
Um,
Fest.
Pyrofest for all you local Hampton kids. You know what Pyrofest was? Does it still exist?
Probably. I don't know.
Anyways, I feel like that early high school time, like Hartwood was bumping in the summer. It was like every weekend you like
Heartwood
went.
Acres is just like a big open field, pretty much, with a stage, and they had free concerts there every Sunday in the summer, and it was just like a dope hangout spot. And
Yeah, and
like a
all the
shitload of people would show up, so it'd be like
all
it'd
the
just be a good
kids,
good
everyone from
time.
school, you see them there. Anyone who's relevant, really, even the irrelevant people, really. But so I think one day, there was Pyro Fest, um,
Which is like a big
and
firework crazy show.
and neither of us really remember the exact mutual friend we had that led to this
I feel like we were
tube
hanging out
station
with some
hangout.
chicks, but I can't remember who.
I don't know why, but I think it was Brad. I'm not kidding.
I don't know. It could have been anybody.
Because like back then, we smoked together, like early high school. But anyways, we our mutual friend ditched us. The, I don't know what ended up happening, obviously, because we don't know who it was, but he bailed, and I'm pretty sure Noel and I just kind of reached out to each other, and we were like, "Still want to chill, bro?"
Like, I'm not trying to leave, bro. Like, what's going on here?
Uh, and I was probably like, "Fuck it," because I know I was home alone, obviously, because we were smoking at a young age at my house, just out in the open. So Noel came over. Honestly, don't know how because we didn't have our licenses back then. So also gonna brush over that topic.
Well,
How the
yeah,
fuck did you
like, cause
get
I
there?
remember you were just like, yeah, like you trying to go smoke, and I was like, yeah, but like where? Cause you're fucking scared. You don't want to do shit in public. Plus, there's
No.
literally probably 500 people there. So he's like, I mean, shit, like we can just go to my house, and I didn't even know where the fuck he lived. He only ended up living like what 10-minute walk.
Hmm.
Yeah, so then we trekked over, and it was a fucking beautiful day. I remember because we were both just
Oh,
wearing our sunglasses, just walking in the middle of the road, and it was just beautiful weather.
dude, I just know it was like the sun was setting. I know
Yeah,
the
for
sky was
sure.
like that
Because on our
beautiful,
way
like
back, it was
orange.
like the end of the sunset, but it wasn't dark yet.
Yeah. So I just know that we were straight walking down the street, no worries, and we were just completely tossed. Not
Yep.
even really good friends at that point.
No, but that solidified the relationship. We had the
Yeah.
mutual friends, and then we hit the tube station together, and we were like, oh shit,
It's like, oh, word, I can chill with this person one
exactly.
on one.
And like that was back in the day where like you would pull like one, two tubes tops. Like two
I,
was like a
dude,
crazy day.
there's no way I pulled more than one. There's no way
But like you would be
back then.
fucked off one. Like straight fucked. And like it's hard to picture, but this is like a pinch. Like it's the smallest amount you can imagine. It's so small. But but you just get it all at once, so it just fucking wrecks you, especially if you're like 15 and you
Yeah,
don't
and
smoke.
also probably hadn't. That probably was like not even like I don't even know if I'd hit double digits in like times I'd smoked at that point either. But yeah, we were destroyed, and just like a few details I remember, and Noel remembers as well. Like we were hitting Harwood, we were seeing all the mutuals, and we had our sunglasses on. But at this point, it's dark, right? Because Pyrofest is about fireworks, so obviously it happens at night. And we both had sunglasses on still, like as the sun was almost completely down. And everyone would come up to us and they're like, "Why the fuck are you guys wearing sunglasses?" And I vividly just remember like trying to like ignore the question. I
Well,
was
yeah,
like,
because that was like back in the time when you were like ashamed, and like
yes. I
you
was like,
couldn't like you weren't wouldn't openly just be like, because now like if somebody says like you look stoned, I'm like, well, I fucking am, like obviously. But like back then, if someone said like you look stoned, you got all like nervous and paranoid and like kind of like it was like an insult.
yeah.
It was like, are you
So
high? Like,
I just remember they're
oh
like, "Why are
fuck,
you
they
wearing
know.
sunglasses?" I'm like, "Don't worry about it, man."
We made a conscious effort to make sure that like nobody knew.
Yeah.
Like eye
So,
drops, sunglasses at night, fucking gum, like the whole 9 yards.
um, but yeah, so that was the first time I can remember personally hanging out with you, one on one. And one on one hangouts, like that's a weird like kind of step to take in just a friendship. I'm literally saying like guy on guy. Like if you're hanging out with a dude one on one for the first time, it's probably awkward a
Especially like
little.
now it'd be weird because I feel like
Oh
when
yeah.
when you're younger, like maybe it's a little different because you're I don't know.
No, I
But the
agree.
thing
Like in
is like
college, like
it usually happens that like you hang out a bunch of times like with other people, and then
mm,
at a certain point like you just chill with them, and then you ended up being homies with them.
but yeah, that was definitely the first time, and I imagine it was awkward at first, but by the time we
Until
were
we hit the
walking there
tubes, bro,
down the
because we were
street,
yeah.
yeah, like when we were walking down the street to Hartwood through the glades, there was no awkwardness at all. I remember it was
Dude,
like we
we were
were
laughing our
homies for
asses off,
life.
bro. I remember that shit
So
like it was yesterday. That was funny.
so that's definitely when we knew like, all right, we're gonna be friends. And moving on now, what are some of the let's get like a starting five lineup of mutual friends, reasons we are now best friends, but like five people that have like kind of influenced us to be friends. We can go back and forth here.
Sickles, obviously.
Yeah, Sickles is starter. He's definitely a starter. Um, are there any
It's
girls?
dude, it's literally all basketball dudes. Because all my
It
friends played basketball and you played basketball, so that's like straight up how it happened. I don't think we met through any girls. I think that came
that
like after the fact, or like through our mutual bros.
I mean, I don't even need. We don't even need to do a starting five. I mean, Sickles is the sole reason
Yeah, because
that
he
we are
was like,
friends.
yeah, that's my homie, and then you hooped with him for a couple years, so you guys became homies, and
I honestly don't know how we became as good of friends as we were just through basketball. Like, because obviously, the team is full of
shit just
people.
happens, dude. You can't. I mean, I could go through a lot of people that I can't tell you the first time we hung out.
It's weird. Like naturally, you just kind of form these things.
Yeah,
Like looking back, like there was no conscious effort to become friends with anyone. You just
nah,
kind of become
part of
friends.
being a person. It's human
So
nature.
so
Just
strange. You just
just
like
find
gravitate
people.
towards people.
Yeah.
Yeah. Um, but yeah, I mean, from that point, I mean, when do you think that Pyro Fest was? Probably your freshman year of high school? Yes, had to be.
Maybe
I was definitely
sophomore.
like a sophomore. There's no way I was a junior.
Okay, then yeah, probably it was probably summer going into my sophomore year.
Yes, yes.
So that'd be
Well,
like summer of like
yeah,
16 or 15 or something like
yeah,
that.
yeah, yeah, yeah. So, um, between then and the end of my senior year, does anything kind of come to mind, like between you and I? Like, I think we were just kind of, it just kept getting like more and more normal to hang out.
Yeah, we were just kind of all squatted up together. Chicago was big.
Yeah.
We went to
But
Chicago.
before Chicago though, there was I don't think we'd hang out one on one like besides Pyrofest.
Not that I can remember, no.
No. And then Chicago happened, which was, by the way, now we're talking like 2 years later, which is so weird to think about.
Yeah, like I couldn't tell you what happened in those 2 years.
Yeah. Like between you and I think we were just kind of chill. Like I
We'd
was
just be
probably
at
a part of the
parties and shit
squad
together.
by then, so there's the
Buttermilk
buttermilk runs.
Falls.
Uh, But yeah, it was always in big groups with our big group of friends. So I don't think we ever had like a one-on-one up to the point that Chicago happened. But that is for sure when we transitioned from, acquaintances slash friends to now like straight up homies.
For sure.
Chicago was a big turning point.
And like Chicago is like almost kind of a like mutual friend thing too.
Yeah, the only reason we were as close in Chicago or even had the chance to be close is because, you were roomed together with four people. And at that point, when you're kind of figuring it out, it's still basketball season. So I was homies with Sickles and Shuit at that point, and they're like, we need a fourth. Sickles, obviously your best friend, and he's like, oh, ask Noel. I know Noel's going. So all of a sudden we have a room of four, and you're definitely the person I'm the least close with in that room.
For sure.
And you got to think this is now the end of my senior year of high school.
Yeah.
And that was a long time ago looking back. I mean, I'm a senior now in college. So that was literally 4 years ago. But it's crazy to think all of high school we weren't this as close as we have been in the past few years.
Yeah, I mean, I can only think of like one or two other people that I've become friends with like at the end of or like after high school that I went to high school with.
Yeah. So, uh, what do you think happened in Chicago?
Chicago. Okay, so we went to Chicago through the school for like it was Future Business Leaders of America. It was pretty much just like a blow off trip. You got to go to a big city for a couple days, and you do some like internship, like like little seminars and just like job shadows, and it was a bunch of bullshit. There were like three or four kids who were real into it, and they would be asking all these crazy questions and shit to these financial advisors. But the rest of us were just chilling, looking, waiting for the free time where we got our 10 or $12 from the fucking teacher, and we just got to go off for like 2 or 3 hours. But those little like trips and those little breaks, I feel like we just kind of had like everyone formed up their own little squad for the trip, and when you got to go off on your own, it was just like automatic. You'd link with like a certain like group of people, and you'd just like go off and do whatever.
Personally, for me, a little background on the trip itself. I had absolutely no fucking interest in business. Like, I knew I was going to be a journalist at that point. Like, I could care less about business and being a future business
That's
leader.
what I'm
So
saying. Very
it
few
it was
people wanted to
literally
be
just for the
business
trip.
leaders.
It was literally just the trip. And like I remember Sickles had gone because he actually did have an interest. He went last year and he had like no friends. And so he was the reason like we even went, I think, or even joined the club. I mean, I only joined the club for the trip itself. And he's the one who's like, yo, I wish my homies went. Trust me, it's fun. And we're just like, fuck it. All right. So we go on this trip, and like you said, like they have the game plan for you. I mean, I remember I'll bring up this little memory that you definitely forgot about. Remember when they made us sit through like that play?
The real inappropriate one.
Yes.
Yeah.
And it was garbage, dude. I just remember how funny it was seeing everyone on the trip with their headphones in while the play's happening. Some people just straight sleeping.
Like just
Some
out
people
cold
playing
listening.
games. Some people watching YouTube. Some people listening to music. No one actually watching the play, and everyone was pissed at fuck, what was his name?
Oh,
The guy that led it.
Howard.
Howard. Everyone was pissed at him for making us do that shit.
Well, and the teachers were all real shook because they went into the play not realizing that like there were multiple full acts about straight
Yes.
sex and like real like blowjobs and all sorts of graphic shit. And they wouldn't really they wouldn't say like blowjob or fuck or whatever, but they'd hit heavily on the subject without really
Oh yeah.
talking about it specifically. And yeah, it was just real weird, and nobody wanted to be there. Like even though it was inappropriate, it still wasn't funny. It was just shit.
I just I just remember that was like the worst part of the trip for me was that play. And like everyone mutually like hated it.
Yeah, like nobody wanted to be there. And there's
No.
like there's every type of kid in school is on this trip,
Hmm.
and
So,
nobody wanted to be there.
a few highlights I'd say is like I immediately think of that art museum we went to. That was dope.
Yeah, I
Uh
forgot about that. That was crazy.
Northwestern, when we went to Northwestern and they just let you just like go off on your
Yeah,
own
they're
for
just
like
like,
two
go
hours.
check out the campus, meet back in 2 hours.
Yeah, like we were just straight roaming.
And that, like, dude, like, just talking about this shit, that goes back to, like, last episode about nostalgia. Like, just talking about this shit, it's just, like, I don't know. It's bringing back good feelings, good memories.
It was just it was awesome. Like that trip itself was so great, but we
And
have to
it's not
give
like
credit.
anything specifically, like, crazy happened. It was, like, just talking about it, we can't name, like, a single moment that was, like, awesome. It was just, like, the entire 3 days or whatever it was, and just like those little couple hour sessions where you could break off and just kind of do your thing with whoever you wanted to. I think that's where that was the best part. Just the little things, the little conversations and going to get food, trying new spots. That was the other thing. We the whole time we were roasting people because we'd all get our money to go eat, and you'd see fucking half the kids come back with like a McDonald's or a Subway bag, and we'd come back with fucking chicken Alfredo leftovers from the
Yes.
best place in Chicago, and everyone's like all pissed off, and we're like what the fuck are you doing? Like you're you're giving money in 2 hours to go get food in a city that you don't live in, known for that's the other no you know what, the worst memory was that fucking shitty ass deep dish pizza that we had.
Oh my God, they stuffed the entire trip in that pizza
Oh
restaurant
my god.
and made you eat that deep dish. It was
Listen,
so bad.
I haven't had, I've never been a fan of deep dish, but after that, I talk mad shit on Chicago deep dish because that was literally the worst pizza I've ever had in my life.
I'm
It was
telling you,
it was probably
same
each slice had about a cup of like super sugary
sauce.
sweet like lukewarm sauce
Oh,
on.
that's another thing.
It
It was
wasn't
like
hot, dude.
lukewarm. The
It
whole
was not
pizza.
hot, bro.
It tasted like it had been sitting out for hours.
Yeah, and they just like kept bringing them out, and everyone was like, can
Yes.
we get cheese? Like, is there any cheese on these? And they're like, no, like this is the Chicago way. I'm like, bull fucking shit. There's no way all these Chicago people are cool with just sweet ass, dirty, warm, but not warm enough marinara sauce just drenched onto some bread. Ugh.
I completely forgot until you just said that, like,
Because
for
I was
some
talking
reason it
about
was
little
like all
food.
you can eat
That was the
pizza too.
problem, and no, like we couldn't get through a single
we're like,
pizza.
we're like,
Everyone
please
tried.
stop.
Like nobody could. No, I don't think anybody got a second slice.
No. Everyone was like,
Everyone was
please
like,
stop
can you
bringing this
just like
shit out.
bring out a shitload of French fries or something? Because we're hungry, but we do not want this.
Uh,
And
yeah.
the teachers just looked at us as like little ungrateful fucks, but that was garbage. I'm sorry. That was to this day definitely the worst pizza I've ever had. Easily. Maybe the worst food I've ever had.
It's up there for me. But yeah, the trip, I
I
mean,
wish I
we'd
knew
be
where we
wrong.
went because I would shout them out for having the worst fucking pizza on the planet.
I
It's a
I've actually
disgrace.
found the restaurant because I have plenty of friends from Chicago at school,
Do you
and
know the
like I
name of
told them
it?
about the trip one time, and I was told them about the pizza experience, and they're like, "Where was it?" And I like went into Google Maps, and you actually find it because I remember the area. But yeah, I actually did find it one time. I forget it now. I actually
We did go to a nice hot dog shop. That big fat hot dog shop. Remember that? It
no.
was huge. Like 2 floors.
What? A hot dog? Oh yes, no,
Yes.
Portillo's. That's like literally the number one
Oh,
like landmark restaurant in Chicago is
yeah. It
Portillo's.
was
It's fire,
insane.
absolutely
Insane.
fire. But yeah, we'd be wrong, I think, not to give credit to our old pals. Definitely not current pals, but you know, have to give them credit. They definitely played a role in you know how close we ended up getting and how tight we were on the trip.
Yeah,
I
for
feel
sure.
that was like a weird. It honestly felt like a dream, like that whole trip. Like I felt like I became a different person almost on that trip. The
Yeah, it
shit we
was
did,
weird.
like the pier that night, honestly, might have not happened. That might be like a complete figment of our imagination that night.
It was
I
real.
don't know.
Like, we were just being total fucking goofballs.
Oh, complete fucks.
Like,
Like literally no rules. Like we were
yeah, like
fuck.
I wouldn't do that again, but we
No,
we were walking down the pier and we like it was just like I remember it was like it was just super windy. No, it wasn't raining. It was just super fucking windy because it's
it was
Chicago,
nice
obviously.
out, yeah, but it
Yeah.
was windy.
But like we went into this big building at the end of the pier where there was like a wedding going on.
Oh
And
my
like
God, I forgot about that.
dude, that's what I'm saying. It was so weird. And we just like kind of snuck our way in and we like went through this stairwell and we went like all the way to the top and we were on the roof of the building. And then we just like we filmed this weird ass video.
We were doing weird shit, bro.
Like I can't what was the one the one video I can't what were the
No,
one video
dude,
like
the one that was not scripted was the best one by
was that
far.
the one where I
I
run off?
Yes, like that was completely unscripted. I just like started filming because I was like, oh shit, the view looks sick, and then I was like, I just turned and I see Sickles like staring into the distance, and
Honestly,
I'm like,
we'll put that in the video
yeah,
because
we'll plug it.
this
But
video is hilarious.
We're just walking around. No signs of life, no signs of habitability. No one up here at all. Oh, who's this man? Sir! Sir, do you live up here?
No. I'm
How'd
from
you
the
get
city.
here? He's from the city. Is this your secret spot?
Yes. I'm here to clear my mind.
I think we found it. Found the Holy Grail. Oh, another man. Sir! Sir! Sir!
But yeah, so I just walk up to Sickles and it's just completely unscripted, and we just start rolling, and then I turn and you're just there by chance, and I do the same thing and you just went with it. It was perfect. I mean, like we could get TikTok famous from something like that shit
It
nowadays.
was so like I don't even know how it happened, but Tickles just walks up to me. He's like, "Excuse me, sir, sir,
That
sir."
was me, bro.
Oh no, that was you.
I had the camera. Sickles was the one that's staring off in the distance. I'm just like, sir, are,
Do you
are
live
you
up
from
here?
here? Do you live here or something? He's like, I'm from the city. without hesitation.
And he's just he's just looking out into the
Yeah.
skyline.
He's like, I come here to clear my mind. I'm just like, cool. And I just turn.
And then I'm just standing there with my backpack, and you're like, "Excuse me, hey sir, hey."
You just
Hey!
take off.
Yeah, and then I just fucking bolt, and I do a couple spin moves, and then you catch up to me, and I won't spoil the ending, but it gets pretty crazy.
But yeah, I remember the pier, in my mind at least, like I thought that was gonna be like a highlight of the trip. Like it seemed like they played it up to be like this really cool place, and I was bored, I think in 5 minutes.
Are you talking nighttime, or that like when we stopped during the day and it was super fucking windy and we were like next to the
No,
water
no.
booking it?
No, dude, I forgot about that too. Like everyone wanted to get a picture because it looked cool, but the wind, that might be the hardest wind I've ever been in.
I have pictures of that too, dude. There's a picture of like the 4 or 5 of us just like sitting there, and all of our shirts are like completely puffed up. We all look fat as fuck because the wind was just smacking everybody.
All the girls could not get a good picture because their hair was like all over the place. But yeah, Chicago trip was crazy. And I'll say one more thing about the pier. Kind of bouncing back on what you said, there's no chance I'd ever do that again. Like we were complete goons. That might be like the most goony I've ever been in public in my life. Like we walked into that building, there was a wedding, and we just went in.
We just, I know.
We were
Like,
sitting there for
thinking
like
back,
good
I
5,
wouldn't
10
do
minutes.
that. I don't think I would.
We were sitting in someone else's wedding for like 5, 10 minutes, like just amongst the tables. And then yeah, someone was like, "Yo, where does this door lead?" And we're like, "Fuck it." And then we just went up, and we definitely were not allowed to be up there, and it was led to incredible memories.
Yeah, it was pretty dope up there. I remember the view was pretty awesome of the city up there too. But Chicago was definitely the solidification.
And then a few weeks later, I graduated from high school, and it's just crazy to think like that's how it ended up going. But that was definitely, the tightest I was with our squad was at that point. And it's weird being a year older than every single one of your friends,
Everybody.
all of your friends. So that freshman year of college for me was pretty tough, to be honest with you. And I came home like once a month from a 5-hour drive. Didn't have a car, by the way. My dad went and drove me every single time. And I came home every month. And I think even then when I was coming home, we were hanging out, obviously. We were staying close. And then all of a sudden it's time for you guys to graduate high school. And that's when what? I don't even know where I'm going with this. What spurred the Los Angeles vacation? What do you remember? Like the first,
I don't
I don't even know. Like the
I don't
first
know, 'cause, like,
brainstorm of the
thinking
idea.
now, like your dad always talks about going to LA. Was it always like that, or is that since we like went to LA?
That's what I mean. I feel like it hasn't always been like that.
Well, for those of you who don't know, Jack's dad lived in LA for what, like how long? 20 years?
Maybe
10,
about 20.
Yeah. So he was there for a while. So it was definitely his idea to go. And yeah, it kind of just happened. And I mean, nobody could say no because he came to me, you, Sickles, and then your sister and her friends. I don't know if this was their offer, but our offer was if you want to come to LA for a week, I have a fuckload of frequent flyer miles, so your flight's covered. I'll cover the Airbnb. You just got to grab your food while you're there. And we'll do a week in LA, and it'll be fucking awesome. So nobody could say no to that, obviously. And I'm fucking very thankful I did not say no to that, because that was easily one of the top 2 or 3 weeks of my life it was awesome.
So I honestly don't know why the fuck my sister got to bring two friends as well.
I
Because
know
I
she
remember it
cashed
turned
out.
into a, I mean, our explanation for it, I think in the moment, but definitely in hindsight, was like, you guys had just graduated college and you were my two best friends, and my dad was like, fuck it, graduation present to the
Did
max.
you
Like, I
go?
didn't
Did you have a senior trip?
know, and that's another thing.
Oh
So
yeah,
that's what it was for me as well. Like, for me, it was a senior trip, and for you guys, it was like my senior trip gift to me, but also your graduation gift. So, like, that was kind of the explanation for why I got to bring two friends for free. Um, but yeah, I just can't believe like something like that actually went through. Like we went through with it,
and
and it.
again, like pretty strange group. I mean, not as far as the boys, because we were all super tight, but just on that trip, like I got way closer with your sister, Hursty, like total homies with her now, and then even Adrian, who like I had never talked to, uh, like I was actually talking to her on like Instagram the other day, and it's just like,
What?
yeah, it was just like she like responded to my story, or I said something to her. I can't remember how it started, but we were just like catching up for a minute, and like if you would have told me like at the beginning of that summer, like I'd be talking to her, I'd be like, no, like I doubt it because I've never
Yeah.
talked to her in my life.
You'd be like,
Like
what
how?
scenario will present itself where I
Exactly.
will be friends
Like
with
so, it was
Adrian?
just like it's another time where you kind of just by chance and by mutual friends end up making homies with new people.
But yeah, I mean, my birthday was a
Making
few weeks
homies. I
ago,
don't
and
know if you can say that. Making
my
friends.
my birthday was a few weeks ago, and Hursty like texted me happy birthday, and it's just like she wouldn't have texted me happy birthday if not for the LA trip. Like it's just
Exactly.
something like that. Like it changes the course of
It's
your
like a
relationship.
weird bond that we all have
Yes.
just
Um,
because of that one week.
but in terms of just like us three as like friends, I think we actually like became like brothers by the end of that trip. Because you forget, like we showed up there alone for the first few days.
True. Yeah, it was just the boys. Your dad wasn't there, and
So
your
dope.
sister and her friends weren't there.
So dope. It
And
was just you, me,
we
and
just got
Sickles.
to like kind of take on the city on our own.
Exactly.
So like
We
we
did.
just had you ever been there?
Uh, yes, but like I was a kid.
Yeah. So
Like since high school, no.
so it was a new city to all of us, and we just
Yeah.
had like 2 days to do whatever the fuck we wanted. And I remember that one night, like we all had our fakes there, and we were just ready to go, and we walked down the street and picked up a 6 pack, just like our
Yes.
first night, just as like a little toast for the first night. And I just remember we are walking down like the middle of the street. It's probably like 75 degrees at night.
Hmm.
Absolutely perfect. It might have been like 78. It was just like, honestly like the perfect temperature ever. Most perfect temperature ever. Um, but yeah, we were just walking down the middle of the street with a 6 pack, just enjoying life.
It
And
was it was like the
like
greatest.
that's such a tiny thing, but that night sticks out to me, even though like it wasn't much of anything. We just walked down the street, picked up a 6 pack, and came back. It was just like it was just the vibe of LA, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah. And it's like a different feeling than like a senior trip. I feel like a senior trip, like I mean, I didn't go on one obviously, but I feel like you feel still like a kid. Like you're
Yeah,
like, oh, I'm a kid on vacation with all my bros from
senior
high
trip.
school.
Yeah, plus there's
Or
like with I feel like the more people you have, the harder it is to have like a closer bond or
Mhm.
like be able to kind of break off and like strengthen relationships more, if that makes sense. So I feel like the
Mhm.
fact that it was just the three of us that made it just like kind of set it in stone that we were all homies, I guess. I don't know.
um, but you know, the LA trip, I felt like we were like adults. I felt like it was like the first time I felt like an adult. Like, cause I was just hanging out with my friends and we were just on our own in a new city and doing whatever we want because we had the fake, you had the bud, and And then we're like the last day we were alone was the day we went to Venice and got the bikes.
Well, wait,
Dude, that
didn't we get the bikes? No, we got the bikes like the first or second day, and then we got them again with your sister and her friends, didn't we?
yeah, we did, but it was the second day. I'm pretty sure we were there alone for
2 days.
2 days,
Yeah,
maybe. I feel like it was like 2 nights, three
yeah,
days or something,
maybe.
whatever. Like they arrived on the third day we were there alone, but it was day two because day one we got there, we immediately got in an Uber and went to the beach and we're there for like the sunset, and then we came back and that's when we got the six pack and stuff. And then day two is when we're like, all right, let's get the bikes, like let's have a day in Venice, and that might be the best day of my life.
It was so fucking chill, bro. I remember I just had my speaker in the basket, and we were just listening to music, just cruising down right along the beach, going through Santa Monica into Venice. And there's just like so many fucking wackos and sexy ass chicks and just every type of person you can imagine there.
Like we
It
just
was
like
awesome.
explored the entire like stretch of Venice, and then like at the end of the day, the sun was setting, and when we rode the bikes back, that's when we had like the music on, and like the sunset was fucking beautiful, and like none of us talked. We
No,
all just knew like we're just gonna vibe and
yeah,
like
it's like yeah. There's certain moments where you just know to shut your mouth and enjoy life, and that was
yeah,
one of them.
yeah.
We were biking straight towards the sun,
Mm-hmm.
just coming back like north. I think it'd be like north up towards Santa Monica from Venice on our way back, and
Yes.
yeah, dude, we were just cruising,
Like
and
I'll
by that
never
time, a
forget
lot
that.
of people go back home, so there's not as many people to worry about, like in the bike path and stuff. So you can kind of just cruise and relax, and yeah, you put on those chill riding vibes. Nothing, no crazy music, no dubstep,
I
no
had
hard rap. You got
I had
some chill like Sway Lee or like Jenny Aiko, something like that, something real relaxing and nice.
Rollin' by Calvin Harris. That
Exact
was the
like
song.
Calvin Harris, exactly. Just like straight summer vibes. Calvin Harris is honestly super underrated for having just all of his music is just perfect for summer chilling.
But yeah, I don't think I'll forget that moment for as long as I live. That bike ride back in the sunset, straight into the sun, and we were just like, just going. And we were all had our backpacks on. We were all shirtless, and we all had our own music. And we were just like bobbing and weaving through people. Like people were probably like, "Oh, these dicks."
These fucking
Like,
tourist dicks.
but we were just going, and it was incredible. And that was definitely that's how we got to where we are today in terms of us.
Yeah, and just like again, like little shit I remember. Like I remember one time at one point we just kind of like pulled off and found this like little Pizza Hut. Not like a literal Pizza Hut, but like a hut that sold pizza. And we just like walked in, got a glass bottle Coke and a couple slices of pizza. And it was like, I don't know if it was just because we were hot and tired and shit, but that was honestly some of the like best pizza I've had.
And I remember we were like trying to save money, and it was $1.
Yeah.
It was like $1 slice, and
And
we were all
and
just
and
like,
we're
"Oh my
used to
god!"
LA shit where you're paying like $20 for McDonald's.
Yeah, we were just like, dude. And we ended up getting that dollar slice at least like three or four
Oh
times
yeah,
throughout
we
the
went
trip.
back. Yeah, we went back multiple times.
Uh, but yeah,
Oh, and that was also uh I remember California had already changed their tobacco age to 21. So I had to use my fake to get like blunt wraps and stuff.
well, you had the jewel.
Oh, I
Like
had the
that's when
jewel. Oh.
the famous "what you hitting" the jewel, man.
I forgot about that cuz you guys that was right when the jewel kind of started and nobody
Yeah,
really knew what it was. Which is like
I remember.
it's trippy to think about nobody knowing what a jewel is cuz like 80-year-old like women know what a jewel is now.
Yeah, no one knew what it was, and me and Sickles were like, dude, like,
I remember one of you guys
what
asking
is
being like,
that?
"Is that weed?"
Yeah, we were like, what is that, dude? Like, why do you have that?
Like it's the jewel,
It's like, I
bro.
don't know, it's the jewel. Then it became like a thing as the trip went on, like, because then we got into it. I literally got a Juul like after the trip because of the trip.
Well, you can blame me.
But that was now coming up on 4 years ago. No, 3 years ago. Coming up on 3 years ago.
That's crazy. It seems like it was last summer. But yeah, LA was like I said, definitely in the set of top weeks of my life. Absolutely. My number one probably being my last week in Israel when I was like I think I was 15. Yeah, I was 15. And so like just kind of backstory on that. So I was raised Jewish and I was in like it was kind of like a youth group type thing, but so each city in America who had a group would be like partnered up with a city in Israel, and you guys would kind of like be pen pals and shit. And they came over in that spring. They came in They came to Pittsburgh, and like one of each of them. There were like 20 of us and 20 of them, and each of them like lived with us for a week, and we just kind of hung out and did shit. And they like we were still in school, so we had to go to school. But then afterwards, we'd go down and all do shit together. But so pretty much, there was this girl I ended up talking to like throughout it, and between the spring where they came and the summer we went, it was probably 4 or 5, like 3 or 4 months, and so like that whole time we were texting and stuff, and we ended up getting pretty close, kind of just as homies, but obviously I was a 15-year-old dude, so I was, I mean, it's in the back of my mind, but
Yeah.
so so I remember like there was one night like somebody had like a party going on. Like so during the day we were there for 3 weeks, and the first 2 weeks, no, the first week it was just like all the people from Pittsburgh kind of doing touristy shit. So we did like this crazy hike through I can't even remember. Fuck. I don't know. This crazy ass mountain range in Israel. We did a hike through, and just all sorts of touristy shit. But then we linked up with them, and we were in their kind of hometown for a week. And one night somebody had a party, and it was like we weren't allowed to drink or anything, because if we got caught, we'd get fucking shipped back to America on our parents' dime. So like we didn't.
You
even,
weren't risking it. Yeah,
no,
you
weren't
weren't
risking it. And at that time, like I was 15, so I wasn't even like drinking really. I think I maybe had smoked before, but like I wasn't really into any of that type of shit. And so there was kind of just a party and shit. And at one point, I ended up outside with the girl, and we were just like talking for like a straight hour or two. And we were just talking about like anything and everything. And I remember at one point we were talking about like so she has a boyfriend. I forgot to mention this. She had a boyfriend, so I wasn't even really shooting my shot, because I was like, fuck it, it's not even worth it, and like I don't want to offend her, I guess. And I was 15, so I was fucking scared. I don't know. I was a virgin and I was 15. So like the conversation came up like, what's your biggest pet peeve? And like I can't even remember what I said. And she said when guys can't take a hint. And I was like, like, so at first I was like that's kind of weird. And I was like, oh shit, fuck, she's talking about me. And I was like, all right, like I'm a little scared, but at the same time, like I just got the green light. So like I made my move and shit, and we started making out, and I'm getting butterflies. I'm getting falling in love and shit. I'm 15. I'm all hype. So I like go back and tell my homies. I'm like, yo, bro, like I made out with her and like I felt her titties, bro. It was awesome. I was super hype. And then like so the week goes on, and then the next week, all 40 of us kind of like travel. And the last night, I think we probably had like 2 or 3 nights left there before we went back to Pittsburgh. But the last night where we were with the Israelis, we all stayed in a hotel in Tel Aviv. Like
Mhm.
fucking terrible idea by this company to put a bunch of 15 and 16-year-olds in a hotel together and expect shit not to go down. But so pretty much like we
Wait,
all
was there any supervision?
like yeah, there was. So pretty like we would have like these. It was honestly pretty fucking awesome. Like I made some lifelong friends in it. But we'd have like these things where we'd like sit in a circle and like all 20 of us like the topic could really be anything, but like we get into some like really deep shit and like talk about our problems and shit and kind of just like vent to each other. And
Mhm.
so we had one of those, and I think the Israelis did too, and like it actually got super fucking deep. Like we had like a I can't remember if it was like a piece of paper or like a balloon or something, but it was like the whole idea of like you write something down that's bothering you, then you burn it or you set it off in a balloon, like you let go of it. So we did like that type of shit, and it got pretty deep, and everyone was like a little depressed, and so like people kind of just so we got out of it, and we're like, all right, this is the last night, so like we're trying to chill with all these people, but they
Mhm.
were still in their little circle, so we all went back to our rooms and pretty much everyone ended up passing out, I think. So then I wake up at like 2 in the morning, and I'm like, oh fuck, I slept I slept like everyone's probably sleeping. Like I'm not gonna like that was my last night with all these people. Like I'll probably never see them again. I haven't seen any of them since. Uh, no, no, I don't think I've seen any of them. I've maybe seen one, but I don't think I've seen any of those 20 people like since we left. And so I wake up and I like hit the girl up and I'm like, "Yo, are you awake?" And she doesn't answer and I'm like, "Fuck. Shit, I'm missing my chance." Like I blew it. I fell asleep. I fucking blew it. And then finally she answers and like my heart just starts pounding cuz like I'm
Wait,
like
how much time passed?
probably like 30 minutes, but it felt
Wow,
like hours.
that's a long ass time.
Yeah, so it's like 2:30 in the morning probably, and I like go up to her room, and like it wasn't like FBLA or some shit where they like put tape on the door or like
Yeah.
monitor the hallways. Like you could kind of just do what you needed to, and so I like went up to her room and shit, and like she had like a room like a someone like in her room with her, but that girl was like my second closest homie from that trip too, like
Mhm.
as one of the Israelis. So like it was cool anyways. But she was a fucking deep ass sleeper, so it didn't really mean anything. So she was just she was in the bed, but somehow she got kicked out and she was sleeping on the floor for the rest of the night.
What?
Yeah, like I don't it was pretty cool. But so we were like in the bed and shit and just kind of like talking or whatever. And like we start messing around and shit. And then I'm like kind of like, all right, this is like kind of weird. Like this chick's sleeping right next to us. Like I don't know, I was new to everything. I was a little weirded out, and I
Yeah.
was like let's go into the bathroom or something. So like we go off into the bathroom and like shit starts to escalate, and then just out of nowhere she's like, oh, I can't do this, and I was like, oh. Like what do you mean what do you no you can't do this right now. So she's like no, I can't do it, like I feel bad like about my boyfriend. And I was like, ah, fuck, okay, well I understand. Like, I'm not mad, even though I was mad. Like, it was the type of, it was like some girlfriend
Yeah.
shit. I was like, no, like, it's fine. Like, don't even worry about it. I'm not mad at all. But, so then I like walk. I'm like, all right, well, like, I'll see you tomorrow then. And then, like, I was like, I'll see you tomorrow before everybody leaves. So then I like walk off and I get to the stairwell and like I open the door and like I just feel her like hand like grab the back of my arm, and I was like, oh fuck, and she's like never mind, like let's go, and I was like, ah, fuck, word, let's go, and then so like shit moved forward, and I lost my V card in Israel when I was 15 in a hotel, and that was probably the best week of my life. LA might have been though. It's close, but I think that was because it was just so unexpected.
Yeah, in a dream scenario, like my sister would have probably brought two different people to LA.
Yeah, but
But
it worked out great at the same time.
oh, it worked out great because like then it was just more about like kind of like the, connections you make not in a
Yeah,
more
but
than a friend's way.
it
Like it
would
was
have
just
been
like a
cool if
deeper
your
level, I
sister
think.
brought like two slutty chicks.
Yeah. It wouldn't have been like as cool, like honestly.
No, it would have been, yeah, it would have been fun, but I don't think it would have been as memorable of a trip.
And Sickles would have been like just that would have been Sickles' full focus
Oh yeah,
the whole trip.
yeah. So
But instead it was more just like get fucked up and
get
just
fucked
chill
up and
like in
just enjoy
LA.
each other.
Yeah, it was fucking awesome. Um I mean the best week of my life wasn't even a week really. Like there's this thing in Hawaii. I'll try to make it short and sweet, but basically my best friend when I lived there, his name's Judd. He went to a private school and I didn't get in because I guess I just wasn't smart enough or whatever. So, but we still stayed close. We lived kind of close to each other. Um, but he was family friends with this family that owns an estate on like the east side of the island, like
The
which is
main
not
island,
like as populated.
the main island, like
Uh,
the big
I
one.
mean the not the big island, but Oahu, which is the most populated and the one that has the capital and stuff. So, anyways, they own this estate, and it is right on the corner of like this hotel. So it's like kind of like you're immersed in nature, but you always like could just like hit the Hyatt if you need to. Like they had like a hot tub, we'd like hit it sometimes and like sneak in and whatever. But anyways, this estate was like a campsite. So it was just this nice open grass field, and then they built like a little kitchen, and then there was bathrooms. But other than those two buildings,
But
like you were
it
just
was
in a
like a
grass
private,
field.
like a private.
Campsite, yes. Private campsite no one could go on unless you were family friends with this family that owns the estate.
Right. So yeah. Okay.
And we went twice a year on July 4th of July. I don't know why I said it like that. um, and then on New Year's Eve. So it was like both the times where you shoot fireworks. We'd like go to this place, blah blah blah. You camp out. There's a bunch of families, and like it becomes like like one big family. Like we were all just one big family, and it was kind of a thing. Like you just knew every 4th of July you were going, and every New Year's Eve you were going. Like you just knew. And every time I'd go, but obviously as I get a little older,
So
it
wait, you
just
would like
became,
camp out on New Year's Eve?
yes, and 4th of July
That's such a weird
in Hawaii.
concept.
Like just a bunch of families, like probably like 10 to 12 families go, and they're all like know obviously the people that own it, and then you like all meet each other obviously, and then as time goes on you become close with them, so then all of a sudden you're just like a family and you're like, okay, like this is going to be a family event every single twice a year. And so like every time we go, but obviously when I was older, like in middle school, it is like that's like peak happiness, like just pure childhood happiness. Like, imagine just being at a campsite and there's no phones, there's no technology. You're just there with your friends, and there's a beach right there, like literally 12 steps to the beach.
That sounds terrible to so many people because they can't take a picture. They can't post
Private
about it.
beach. No one can get to this beach, by the way. Private beach, and you're just there with your friends, and like it's just a bunch of kids. Obviously, I was a kid at the time, so it was just like
Are you still
it
like
was just
welcome
so
to go
amazing.
there?
Yeah, so I've been once, or no, I've been twice since I've moved back now. But like I always try to plan my trips around it, but now it's like kind of everyone, like obviously everyone that was my age is now my age. So like they're either in college or they have a job now, blah blah blah. So it's just like it's become like a less common occurrence. I don't think they definitely don't go every 4th of July and New Year's Eve now. But it was just like that short amount of time. It was like such like it was a thing. It was its own thing, and it was the greatest thing of my life. And the campsite is called Lani Kuhonua. And if you know who my dog is, her name is
Oh,
Lonnie. So we named her after the campsite.
oh shit! I didn't know that.
Yeah. So, yeah, that's where it comes full circle, really. And like, my dream is, I look back at the LA trip and I think, I'm graduating from college in May. And this summer, like, is kind of like a farewell to just any adolescence I have, because I'm going to be getting a full-time job here and then starting my life. Um, I just, I would love to like be able to bring friends to Hawaii because LA is cool. We were all kind of experiencing it, but like Hawaii is my home, like truly deep down. I lived there for the core 7 years of my life, and I've never been able to show it to anyone who like actually matters to me today.
Yeah,
And
has anyone from Pittsburgh been to Hawaii?
no,
Like
no,
any of
no.
our Pittsburgh
I
friends?
mean, like, no, no one because
Has
like my sister.
like even
I mean,
Shuit or no? No.
no. I mean, Bree was the closest one to coming, but no one has ever come, and I just really hope like I get to show someone what it's all about because for you guys it's just all my friends, it's just Hawaii, the stereotypical when you think of Hawaii you're just like, oh yeah, an island, it's a vacation island, like it's sick, but for me like it's my home and I just like really want to show it to someone.
Well, fuck. Let's do it.
But yeah, that's the bottom line. But yeah, I think it's cool. Like I don't think anyone knows that now besides you and anyone who listens to this that my dog's name is Lonnie because that's the name of the campsite that is my favorite place on earth.
That's great. Yeah, dude. I don't know why. I I feel like I've never even asked because I would have remembered if I knew that.
Yeah.
That's nuts.
But yeah, it's pretty cool. What time are we at right now?
An hour and 3 minutes. Almost right on the dot.
This microphone is dope. Like I definitely know that it's going to be a good purchase.
Yeah, I mean, you sound way better than the phone. The phone call definitely sounds much more organic.
But yeah, should we keep going or should we cut it? Because
Uh,
we could go into traveling. I mean, we definitely left a cliffhanger for traveling.
um,
Or we could save it for next time.
we could just go. I say we just do a full travel episode.
Yeah. Oh yeah. We
There's,
could
yeah,
definitely go into
there's a
travel.
lot I could talk about. You studied abroad. You could talk about a lot.
Um,
So
but
that'll be
yeah,
episode 6.
coming to you soon. It will be a travel episode. You'll get our thoughts about, what we like about the outside world. I mean, I've been blessed enough to see a little bit of it, like literally a tiny bit. I've been to probably 5 countries max.
I think I've been to like 9 or 10.
Whoa.
Yeah.
But
So we'll talk about that next time. But till then, this was the Tube Station.
thanks for joining us. Now you know who we are and why we are.
Who, what, why, where? Hawaii.
You got the when
Pittsburgh.
too.
When? Yeah. There you go. Pittsburgh. Okay, so who? Jack and Noll. What?
The Tube Station
The Tube
podcast.
Station podcast. When?
Right now, but I mean, we kind of
Now,
explained
but
today.
summer
We
of
explained
15,
today.
maybe
Yeah.
16.
Mm-hmm.
Why? Again, the Tube Station.
Yeah. We
And
just actually, yeah, no. To kind of summarize all this, like Noel tried to say earlier, that the Tube Station is a place where people can come together and you talk about literally anything.
the amount of friendships I've made and solidified around a tube station is absurd.
Yes.
Like, pretty much almost all of my guy friends were because of the tube station, or the tube station is somehow involved. And so that's why we're here, and that's why we're calling it the tube station.
And how? The how is you can follow us on social.
Oh,
Jack Team
there's
22
a
for
nice
me.
plug. There's a nice plug. Noll J33 for me.
And you can listen to this podcast on YouTube and soon to be other more compatible podcast applications. But we'll keep you updated with that. We're only on episode 5, and this is a milestone for us.
Yeah, we'll be on SoundCloud and Apple and all that. Actually, fuck SoundCloud. We should just skip that. We should just go straight to Apple and Spotify next.
Yeah, where we're investing.
I originally thought you could go on SoundCloud for free, but you can't, which is fucking stupid. So we're going to have to cough up some change and get this shit on Apple Podcasts so you fuckers don't have to sit on YouTube for an hour. But till then, keep fucking listening, subscribe, follow us, and
We'll catch you guys
is
next week.
the Tube Station.